Good morning. May we please take up our seats as Her Excellency is about to arrive in the room. Thank you. Please, all who are standing, please take up your seats, except the press. Thank you. The President is arriving, so please take up our seats.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and esteemed leaders, welcome to this momentous occasion. Today, we find ourselves at the edge of a transformative shift that will resonate across Africa, touching the lives of millions of women and girls, unlocking potential, igniting dreams, and rewriting destinies. And now, with great honor, first I would like to invite the Minister of Foreign Affairs and East Africa Cooperation to grace the stage and invite Her Excellency President of the United Republic of Tanzania. Karibu sana, Waziri Januari.
Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Your Excellencies, heads of state and government, heads of international organizations, distinguished delegates, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. It's a great pleasure and honor to welcome you to this launch of the African Women Clean Cooking Support Program, and I wish to express my sincere appreciation for honoring my invitation and for taking time to join us today. Thank you very much. Excellencies, Excellency, the energy sector lies at the heart of climate mitigation. Apart from the industrial and transport sectors, energy for cooking is also an area of concern. About 80% of sub-Saharan African households rely on wood-based biomass energy for cooking. With rising population and increasing demand for energy, the risk of deforestation grows. Between 2010 and 2020, Africa witnessed an estimated net forest loss of 3.9 million hectares annually. This threatens both the carbon sink and biodiversity. As such, we see Africa playing a key role in mitigation by rolling out clean cooking solutions. We decided to launch this program on the margins of the COP to show our own commitment to mitigation. We want to show that even though our emission levels are relatively low, we will also act and deliver. Perhaps there is no better way to call for others to equally act on their part. We also firmly believe there's no better place to engage in this conversation and to mobilize support for this cause than here at the COP. In talking about access to clean cooking fuels and technologies, we note that there has been a decrease in access deficit globally, meaning more people have gained access to clean cooking solutions worldwide. However, in sub-Saharan Africa, there has been a clear upward trend in the use of biomass fuel instead of going for clean cooking. Hence, our focus on Africa. Clean cooking is about mitigation as it is about women's empowerment and welfare. Women and girls bear the brunt of lack of sustainable clean cooking solutions. The challenges range from the risk attached with searching for firewood, burning biomass fuels in confined spaces, and losing time to participate in other socio-economic activities. As a Gender Equality Forum champion on economic justice and rights, I thought it is important to focus on women, given the disproportionate impact faced by women due to lack of access to clean cooking solutions. Having said that, Excellencies, I now invite you to watch this 7-minute documentary that will help us better appreciate the challenges associated with lack of access to clean cooking solutions in Africa. Documentary, please. not coming.
Okay.
In the heart of Africa, there exists a culinary tradition that is not only about food, but a reflection of love, culture, and resilience. African women take immense pride in their role as caretakers and providers of nourishing meals for their families and communities. And for countless decades, cooking continues to be a source of strength and unity in many African societies. But this pride doesn't have to come at a cost. While traditional cooking methods are rich in culture, they also place a heavy burden on African women, affecting their health and well-being.
For over 4 decades, I have relied on a wood stove for my everyday life. And if I don't gather firewood, we won't have anything to cook with. The process of gathering firewood is no simple task, often involving grappling with thorns, and there's a risk of getting cut with a machete. After gathering the firewood, I tie it up and carry it back home. I endure severe headache and chest pain upon unloading the heavy load. Cooking with firewood is distressing and smoky, leading to frequent coughing. However, I cook meals for my husband and children.
Women and young girls constitute the majority among the 900 million people in sub-Saharan Africa who lack access to clean cooking solutions.
The adverse impact of using traditional cooking fuel on human health can be classified into 2 main categories. The short-term impacts include eye irritation and redness, coughing, flu-like symptoms, headaches, and asthma. In the long term, these detrimental effects extend to conditions such as pneumonia, interstitial lung diseases, chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases, and diseases like tuberculosis due to weakened respiratory defenses and exposure to smoke and toxins. Prolonged exposure can lead to cancer and ultimately death.
Traditional cooking practices, particularly in the rural areas, further denies women and girls educational and economic opportunities.
I head to the mountains to gather firewood at 6 a.m. in the morning and return at 1 p.m. in the afternoon. I don't like collecting firewood because it leaves me with little time for studying. If there were another cooking option, I wouldn't have to go.
Another layer of injustice exists among women whose livelihoods rely on working 6 to 8 hours a day to fetch firewood. Gender-based violence.
In Ijava, I faced a situation where a woman was physically assaulted because of her extended absence while gathering firewood. This incident occurred because she took longer than expected. When she arrived home, she was physically attacked. Tragically, the victim was pregnant, and as she was brought to the health facility, our examination confirmed that the assault led to a miscarriage. This incident exemplifies one of the challenges encountered due to traditional cooking methods.
Besides the adverse health impacts and gender disparities it fosters, traditional cooking practices contribute significantly to the effects of climate change. Over the past decade, a loss of 3.9 million hectares of forest is recorded annually, causing a severe damage of carbon sinks and biodiversity. But change is on the horizon. Across the continent, governments, innovators, non-government organizations, and communities are coming together to transform the way Africans cook. These transformative efforts are expanding access to clean cooking infrastructure, with the Africa Biogas Partnership Programs of 2019 endeavor leading the charge, constructing 100,000 biogas plants in Tanzania, Ethiopia, Kenya, Uganda, and Burkina Faso, providing nearly 500,000 people with sustainable energy source. Rural electrification projects are empowering communities by promoting modern energy services in remote areas, while ongoing support for research and development is igniting innovation for even more efficient and eco-friendly cooking solutions. And this is just the beginning. More groundbreaking interventions are taking root to ensure the achievement of clean cooking, lighting up a healthier, gender equal, and more sustainable future for all. As a global champion of the Generation Equality Forum under the Action Coalition on Economic Justice and Rights, Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, is promoting the use of clean and affordable cooking fuels and technologies. This is an important initiative to achieve gender equality and empowerment of women in the just energy transition global agenda towards achieving a global net zero emissions by 2050. This initiative will not only pave ways in realizing each African country's climate action commitment, but also empower women and girls, especially in rural and peri-urban Africa, to be part of the solution to the global climate crisis.
Thank you. Excellencies, our aim today is to launch this program and to reignite the conversation on clean cooking solutions that will support a gender-responsive energy transition in Africa. The program sets forth a noble vision through its core objective of empowering women and girls through the adoption of clean cooking fuels and technologies across Africa. This in turn will reduce the negative impacts of indoor air pollution on women's health, empower African women socioeconomically, and drastically reduce emissions from biomass energy and create more carbon sinks. The program aims further to promote the benefits of clean cooking technologies and advocate for policy changes in Africa. It includes training of women on clean cooking technology usage, entrepreneurship and leadership, and fostering research and development of affordable and efficient clean cooking technologies. Achieving access to clean cooking has the potential to save a remarkable 1.5 billion metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. I'll repeat that area. Achieving access to clean cooking has the potential to save a remarkable 1.5 billion metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent by 2030, with 900 million metric tons of that coming from the heart of Africa itself, the sub-Saharan Africa. In addition, when women and girls no longer spend hours gathering firewood or inhaling toxic fumes from open fires, they gain precious time to learn, to generate income, and to lead. I'm committed to champion this program along with fellow heads of state and government and all of our partners. I'm happy to note that our partners in clean cooking, the UNCDF, where are the UNCDF? Here they are. Yeah, thank you. They're giving us an initial indication of their support and willingness to serve as the fund manager for this program. The transition to clean cooking is a gradual process. As such, on one hand, we'll advocate for policy frameworks and incentives to be put in place to promote the widespread adoption of clean cooking technologies and fuels. On the other hand, will leverage support from the private sector to reduce dependence on traditional biomass for cooking by establishing a commercial supply chain for clean cooking alternatives, including improved stoves and facilitating access to electricity in rural areas. And at this stage, I welcome you to share your insights and perspectives. Your insights will help to inform how we will work to realize this program. We also welcome your pledges and partnership and support as we move forward. And without further ado, allow me now to welcome those who wish to take the floor to make their interventions. And here is the moderator. Please, you have a floor.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, and thank you for your insightful opening remarks and for your leadership on this important issue. Your Excellency, you have given me a very difficult task of calling on speakers. We have 50 minutes of engagement and 26 requests for speaking. So just as everybody has to eat, everybody has something to say about cooking. Your Excellency, also to notify you, your colleagues and brothers, His Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa, President of South Africa, has asked to join you later, and also President Evariste Ndayishimiye from Burundi also will join you. So the speaking order will be flexible, and I would like to start with your brother, Dr. Adesina, President of the African Development Bank.
Your Excellency, Your Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan, Madam President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you very much, my dear sister, Madam President, for your leadership in convening this around this critical issue of access to clean cooking for women. I'm so glad that you're doing it, Madam President, because for me, I'm extremely passionate about this based on my own experience growing up. One of my friends, when I was a kid, in their family, they actually didn't have access to clean cooking. They didn't have access to gas, so they had to use kerosene. She went out to go and buy kerosene. She thought she was buying kerosene, but they sold her petrol. And when they brought it home, tried to light it, it caught fire, and the whole family died, just for trying to cook a meal. So for me, it's something that touches me very deeply. And I want to thank you, Madam President, because as a woman, you've taken this up as something very important. And it shows the kind of leader that you are. You lead from your heart with compassion and also with passion. And that's why I really think that when women win, Africa wins, and you should keep winning. Almost 1 billion people in Africa do not have access to clean cooking, mainly in sub-Saharan Africa, relying on firewood and charcoal and other dirty fuels as kerosene causes high levels of indoor air pollution. As a result, 300,000 women die every year, as well as 300,000 children. They die because they are simply trying to cook a meal, what is taken for granted in developed economies. Reliance on firewood and charcoal is leading to massive deforestation, as Madam President, you said, as land use shifts represent a major source of carbon emissions in Africa. The global economic cost of women's time in searching for firewood has been estimated at $800 billion annually. And the health cost for that is estimated at around $1.4 trillion annually. In Africa, While 300,000 women and children die from malaria annually, the number dying from respiratory infections and household air pollution is 1 million people. That means the risk of women and children dying from this pollution is 3 times greater than dying from malaria. If a child misses malaria, in all likelihood, that child, if they don't have clean cooking in their home, has every chance, 3 times more chance of dying, actually with the mother just trying to cook a meal for their family. And therefore, providing access to clean cooking is something we must do. We have no choice. It's clearly doable in Africa. Madam President, it will require $4 billion per year of investment. According to the International Energy Agency, it can be achieved by providing 250 million clean cooking equipment to women by 2030. Providing clean cooking solutions will lead to reduction of 1.5 gigatons of CO2 by 2030. And that is equivalent to all the emissions from aviation and shipping today. However, women are not able to afford the clean cooking solutions. In an analysis by the International Energy Agency, which I found so distressful, the only cooking technology that households can afford without government subsidies is improved cooking stoves with fuel wood collection. All others, such as electric hot plate, liquefied petroleum gas, and biodigesters, are only affordable with subsidies by the government. Madam President, I thought that it would be good to see this, which is this green one is just improved cooking stove with wood. How can we be doing that in the 21st century? And that's the only one that women can afford. To solve this problem, I would like to make 3 points, Madam President. First, we must commit decisively to achieving 100% access to clean cooking solutions for women in sub-Saharan Africa. This requires that governments direct at least, I would say, 5% out of the current $70 billion of energy investments annually into the provision of clean cooking solutions. That will provide close to the required $4 billion annually that we need to solve this problem. And I don't think we are asking too much of that with so many people dying. Second, accessibility and affordability to clean cooking solutions to be assured through the development of liquefied petroleum gas upstream capacity, especially for production, storage, and other distribution infrastructure. Third, multilateral financial institutions such as ourselves should set aside a significant share of their annual energy financing specifically for providing clean cooking solutions at scale. Only scale matters. You said it yesterday, Madam President. This should include concessional blended financing as well as guarantees to de-risk lending by commercial banks and other financial institutions. The private sector, as you rightly said now, Madam President, should be incentivized to provide clean cooking solutions. For example, at the African Development Bank, we've invested more than close to about $70 million in private equity Spark Plus Africa Fund to deliver clean cooking technologies. As I close, Madam President, to solve this problem requires strong political leadership, and that is what you have brought. And I can tell you that you will galvanize all of us around that. We will make sure that it works. Let us prioritize saving the lives of women and children. Let us make it easy for women to cook with dignity and with safety. Africa must use its natural gas to provide liquefied petroleum gas for cooking for its women, just as it is done in all developed countries. And that is why I applaud the launch of the Africa Women Clean Cooking Support Program being launched here today by Her Excellency President Samia Suluhu Hassan. I would like to pledge the full support and strong support of the African Development Bank towards this initiative, and the bank stands ready to work with other partners, such as the UNCDF that you mentioned, to mobilize resources at scale to tackle this challenge and get it done once and for all. I told my staff earlier this morning that if there's one thing that really makes me ashamed, it is that we have this kind of a problem in Africa. and we are not solving it, that's because men are in charge. When women are in charge of it, we finally will solve it. Thank you, Madam President, because this will bring dignity. It will bring dignity. What we saw on that video screen was not dignifying. It will bring dignity to us in Africa, and we need to develop with dignity. Thank you very much for your leadership.
Thank you so much, Dr. Adeshina. Your Excellency, with your indulgence, I have two of my friends in the audience, Anne Bith, Minister of International Development of Norway, and Chris, Minister of State for Development, Francophonie and International Partnership of France. So I would like to invite Anne Beth to speak.
Thank you so much. This is closer.
I think they're giving you this one.
No, it can't. Okay. Oh. Thank you so much. Thank you, Minister, and thank you, Excellency, Madam President. It's such an honor to be here and represent my country, Norway. Thank you for allowing me to take the floor. As a woman and a mother, it is unimaginable and unacceptable to know that 4 million people, mostly women, die prematurely every year due to indoor pollution, simply for cooking a meal for their families. And that is, as my friend Akin pointed out, more than malaria, TB, and HIV AIDS combined. Also, we are here gathered at the COP, and we know that 1.6 GT of emissions can be avoided if we take action. You know, the world is filled with vicious, multifaceted problems. Environment, climate, health, gender equality, interlinked. But this is also an issue where we have actually identified easy solutions. We just need to get them out there. And that is why Norway has been supporting the Clean Cooking Alliance for a number of years. I want to finalize by expressing my huge appreciation of President Samia Suluhu Hassan's remarkable leadership. And may I be as bold as to say that it takes a woman and it takes women to truly raise and drive these gender-related issues. And I thank you, President.
Thank you so much, Anne-Beth. Chris, your turn.
Merci. Merci, Madame la Présidente. Excellence, dear friends, I will be short, Madame President. Everything, I think, has been said already about this crucial topic and this great initiative, and I'm very happy that we were invited. Clean cooking is the perfect example of a topic that fits perfectly with the Paris Pact for the Planet People and the new policy of international partnership that my country wants to build with the African brothers and sisters. I will give you two reasons. First of all, the clean cooking tackles all our challenges at the same time. It fosters health policies by reducing pollution. It is an effective climate action by limiting emission linked to charcoal. It preserves nature by fighting deforestation. And of course, it's even a great tool, as you said, for gender equality. We know that women are the one in charge of collecting wood to cook. In this time of crisis and urgency, we need action that promote all our objectives at once. Clean cooking is one of them. The second reason is that investing in clean cooking is a measure that is simple, it is visible, and which answers the concrete needs of the population. During my many visits in African countries, no ordinary man or woman ever spoke to me about lost damages or about $100 billion target. But a lot of them spoke to me about having modern stoves, or about the birds that no longer sing because the forest had been cut to produce charcoal. So in my portfolio, I also work on school meals, and I find there are a lot of similarities with clean cooking. Both are catalyzers for all SDGs, both answers to simple needs of the population. So in this world that is more and more fragmented, we need more common ground and more consensual initiative like this. Alors, merci beaucoup la Tanzanie, merci beaucoup Madame la Présidente.
Thank you so much, Chris. Now I have the pleasure to invite our sister, Honorable Monica Musavangwa, Minister for Women Affairs, Community, Small and Medium Enterprises Development of Zimbabwe, representing President Mnangagwa.
Thank you very much, Moderator. Your Excellency, it is a pleasure and I'm very grateful to be invited here. I'm standing here representing my country, Zimbabwe. Listening to you presenting, I felt like it's Zimbabwe. You are representing the whole region. We come from the same region and we are very proud of you. I just want to say, Madam, Your Excellency, and Excellencies who are here, the nexus between gender equality and climate justice is a mutually reinforcing one. And we are doing a lot, but Your Excellency, I'm impressed you, as the head of state of the Republic of Tanzania, integrating gender-responsive policies and actions into climate initiatives, and also profiling the women with all the problems they go through as they prepare meals for their families. This will go a very long way, and like some of the previous speakers have said, this investing in clean cooking is possible, and it's affordable. Because that's important. It has to be accessible and affordable. We are doing a lot as a country, and for you to bring this side event at a very important COP28 is very timely. We need to seize this moment to recommit ourselves to a future where gender equality and climate justice are not mere aspirations, but fundamental guiding principles for our actions. In the spirit of leaving no one behind and no place behind, we want to say, everyone, we should take it upon ourselves to make sure that we empower our women. When we empower our women, we have empowered our nations. And thank you very much once again for such a beautiful presentation.
Thank you so much, Minister. And now I have the pleasure to invite Dr. Jean Mujawamaria, Minister for Environment from Rwanda, representing President Paul Kagame.
Your Excellency, the President of Federal Republic of Tanzania, Your Excellencies, Heads of State and Government here present, Honorable Ministers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is an honor that I stand before you today to shed light on a reality that affects countless women and young girls in our communities. The burden of cooking with firewood. In many households, it is the women and girls who bear the responsibility of collecting firewood, often spending hours in challenging conditions. Under sun, under rain, women are always victims, sometimes of gender-based violence. This not only takes a toll on their health, but also restricts their opportunities for education and personal growth. The heavy reliance on traditional cooking methods contributes to indoor air pollution, a silent but deadly threat. In Africa, most of the time when we cook, we have our babies on our back. So the women is exposed to air pollution as well as the baby. The World Health Organization rightfully termed it the killer in the kitchen, highlighting the severe health implications, especially for children who are our future. Your Excellency, Madam President, globally indoor air pollution causes over 4 million premature deaths each year, with approximately 50% being children under the age of 5 who are on the back of their mothers. As we witness these challenges in our communities, it becomes imperative to act with urgency and purpose. And we thank you, Your Excellency, Madam President, for this initiative. Today, I want to share Rwanda's remarkable journey in pioneering clean cooking initiatives, a journey that aligns with our government's ambitious target of reducing household reliance on firewood for cooking. Through collaborative efforts with institutions like the Development Bank of Rwanda, which is a private bank, and the Energy Development Corporation Limited, which is a government institution, we have launched a groundbreaking clean cooking results-based financing subsidy scheme, strategically designed to enhance the accessibility of clean cooking technologies across income categories, particularly for the lowest income population. This initiative, co-financed by the World Bank's Clean Cooking Fund through the Rwanda Energy Access and the Quality Improvement Project, aims to trigger access to clean cooking technologies for at least 500,000 households, benefiting approximately 2.2 million people. Our focus is on affordability, reducing system prices, and addressing environmental challenges, especially around the Nyungwe Forest National Park, our biodiversity hotspot. In line with our commitment to achieving carbon neutrality, we are promoting subsidized clean cooking technologies ahead of Rwanda debut on the carbon market here at COP28. This move not only aligns with our environmental goals, but also signifies a crucial step toward issuing carbon credits to finance climate action projects and decrease emissions. Our efforts extend beyond financial incentives to innovative solutions like the introduction of improved cook stoves aimed at reducing wood consumption and combating smoke pollution. However, we recognize the challenges where dependence on wood fuel and charcoal remains high. To overcome these challenges, we emphasize the need for sustainable financing, biomass replacement, and continuous awareness campaign to encourage the adoption of clean cooking technologies. Our estimated investment of $1.4 billion by 2030 is crucial to achieving our government's target of reducing charcoal use, alleviating pressure on Rwanda's forests covering 30.4% of our total land area. As we embark on this transformative journey, we also recognize the critical role of women, health, climate, and global cooperation in advancing clean cooking initiatives. Our commitment extends to the international stage, and we are proud to participate in this high-level side event launching the African Women Clean Cooking Support Program, spearheaded by Her Excellency the President of the United Republic of Tanzania. Through this collective effort, we seek not only to alleviate the burdens faced by women and girls, but also to inspire transformative change for vulnerable communities globally. Let us join hands, ladies and gentlemen, in this vital journey toward clean, accessible cooking technologies by empowering women, improving health outcomes, and sharing innovative solutions. We can pave the ways for a sustainable and resilient future for all. Let us support this noble cause of supporting African women. I thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. I'd like to remind that we have 25 minutes to go, and we have many speakers to go. So it's now my pleasure to invite Her Excellency Samira Baumia, Second Lady of the Republic of Ghana and Global Ambassador of the Clean Cooking Alliance. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister. Your Excellency, Madam President, I'd like to thank you for your kind invitation. This is really an honor for me, especially because it's a gender issue and it's a women's issue, and we need to deal with it head on. So I thank you for your leadership and your efforts at raising awareness on the relevance of access to clean energy, particularly clean cooking solutions. Cooking is fundamental, and it's part of our lives, and it brings families together. It's cultural, and it has social significance around the world. Yet, as we rightly said today, 1/3 of our population unfortunately relies on wood, steel, charcoal, coal, agric residue, animal dung, etc. to cook and heat their homes. These homes tend to be dangerous places, and all of that has been spoken about previously. Household air pollution, which is driven largely by indoor cook stoves, accounts for an estimated 4 million. Now, as was mentioned earlier, what is accessible even for now are improved cook stoves, which is actually better, but it's unfortunate because we really need to move to very clean cook solutions. Indoor pollution caused 697,000 deaths in 2019. And of these 4 million, I want us to think of it as a mother, a sister, a friend, a wife. You know, these are numbers, but they represent real human beings who are suffering unnecessarily. The state of our global study indicates in 2019 about 236 newborn infants were estimated to have died of air pollution-related causes in sub-Saharan Africa. And it's important to state that the neonatal deaths attributed to air pollution globally, nearly 2/3 are related to household air pollution, which is linked directly to unclean cooking solutions. And the Clean Cooking Alliance also indicates that women in many parts of Africa spend up to 20 hours a week collecting fuels. This is unnecessary, it's time-consuming, and we need to work on that. It also limits access to education, which tends to restrict opportunities for economic growth, in addition to the adverse health impacts. We can't talk also without talking about time poverty, which is also important. The AFDB president is here, and they reported that the continent loses 2.4% of its GDP annually due to health-related problems caused by biomass cooking. I'm therefore optimistic that this program will pave way for the expedited action required to bring clean cooking solutions to the millions who live without it in Africa. At the heart of the Africa Women Clean Cooking Support Program is a commitment to strategic collaboration and partnership. This initiative unites the United Republic of Tanzania with partner governments, the private sector, international organizations, in a concerted effort to facilitate climate action for a resilient agriculture, a thriving blue economy, and gender-responsive, just energy transitions. As Ricardo Politi, the Global Director of Energy and Extractive Industries and Regional Director for Infrastructure Africa for the World Bank, agrees, he says, clean cooking must be a political, economic, and environmental priority, supported by policies and backed by investments and the multi-sector partnerships. To make this kind of change, the level of commitment and the scale of investment matters, and that's why we're here today. As a report also by Climate Impact Partners succinctly puts it, clean cooking is a nature-based solution. It's a technology-based solution, it's a community-based solution, and an opportunity to improve climate justice, end quote. So the importance of this program cannot be overemphasized, because the Africa Women Clean Cooking Support Program's vision aligns with these goals. It seeks to elevate the lives of African women and children by addressing a fundamental need, a need for clean, safe, and efficient cooking methods. And the program focuses on strategic collaborations and funding commitments, which are critical. So today's launch is a significant step towards a more equitable and sustainable future. As the global champion for the Clean Cooking Alliance and chair and convener of the Africa Women and Children's Conference, I urge all stakeholders to recognize the transformative power of clean cooking solutions. Let us continue to strengthen partnerships to effectively address the challenges of clean energy solutions. Together, we can turn a vision into reality, creating a healthier, more prosperous, and sustainable Africa. Clean cooking is one of the most overlooked climate solutions. And until we advance the global access to clean cooking, all of our climate mitigation measures are at risk. So once again, let me also add my voice in congratulating Her Excellency President Samia Suluhu Hassan for your exemplary leadership. And I thank you all for your dedication.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Your Excellency President, you are aware that in Tanzania there are already initiatives on clean cooking that your government is undertaking, and one of them is with the partnership with the European Union, and which has established a Cook Fund, which is run by United Nations Capital Development Fund. And in your statement, you mentioned that there's a willingness by the fund to help you and African women in managing the resources that we raised through this initiative. And amongst us, there's a director and head of local transformative finance from UNCDF, and it's my pleasure to give Mr. David Jackson an opportunity to speak.
Thank you so much indeed, and Your Excellency, it's a real pleasure to meet you again. I think we met a couple of years ago at State House, and I would like to really compliment you on this initiative. It's extremely important. I'd like to highlight one topic that we have not yet discussed, and that is the time spent by women and girls in household chores, but including collecting firewood and cooking. Now, you can actually monetize this time. You can see that this time takes away from education opportunities, it takes away from work opportunities, and it's one of the biggest features which is holding back the empowerment of women and girls, not only across Africa, but across the world. The time spent in this kind of activity. And I believe that in addition to the climate impact, in addition to the nature impact, this initiative will free up the space in the life of women and girls for them to be able to progress. And I really would like to applaud you as not only the husband but the father of two daughters. I don't have any sons, only daughters, to really applaud you for this initiative. So thank you very much. You're most welcome. And just to save time, I know we have a lot of speakers, but just very briefly. So we're delighted with the European Union to be managing the Cook Fund. You set a target, a 10 years target, that by 2023, 80% of Tanzanians will have access and will transition to clean cooking. And we believe the initiative with the European Union, which is for 53 billion Tanzanian shillings, is starting this process. And we are delighted to work, and we'll be counting on the African Development Bank and others to take this initiative and expand it into the Africa initiative you are launching today. So without further ado, I'd just like to thank you again. It's a real privilege to be working with you on this topic, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jackson. Your Excellencies, it's my pleasure now to invite Ms. Dimfna van der Lans, CEO of Clean Cooking Alliance, which is potentially a key partner in this initiative. Yeah.
Thank you. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot talk about clean cooking without talking about women. Not simply because women and young girls are the most vulnerable to the negative environmental, health and economic consequences that result from a lack of clean cooking access, but also because they are an essential part of the solution. Yes, we know that women face the significant health dangers resulting from cooking over an open fire, and that women and girls can be removed from school or income-generating opportunities to collect firewood. But we also know that women are leaders and change makers in their communities, in their companies, and on their continent. Women are more than allies when it comes to accelerating access to clean cooking. They are the driving force. For example, women entrepreneurs sold 3 times more stoves than their male counterparts following an empowerment training for men and women. And women are critical at raising awareness and generating demand, using their networks and community relationships to promote the uptake of clean cooking solutions. Women bring unique insights as users of clean cooking technologies and fuels that can improve business and distribution models. At the Clean Cooking Alliance, we understand that the key to universal access is finding ways to empower women and unlock their creativity to solve complex challenges. We simply cannot achieve universal access without them. As entrepreneurs, as teachers, as CEOs, as policymakers, as champions, and most importantly, as leaders. CCA has supported over 1,000 women entrepreneurs through grants and capacity building. We've supported more than 30 leading companies to integrate a gender lens into their business plans and supply chains. And we are generating some of the cutting-edge research and insights on gender best practices in the sector. I'm honored to be here today with you at an event hosted by Her Excellency, and I'm heartened that Her Excellency is leading a movement to elevate women in climate conversations, particularly around this critical issue for women. We stand with Her Excellency and hope others will join us in our efforts to empower and elevate women by addressing the clean cooking gap in a gender-responsive way. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Your Excellency, now we have members of the United Nations family, UNDP, FAO, UNIDO, and WFP. And given the time, I would like to invite them, each one of them, for at least a minute and a half of intervention each. So I would like to start with Ms. Ahuna Eziakonwa, Assistant Secretary General and Director of the Regional Bureau for Africa, UNDP. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and greetings, Your Excellencies. Very wonderful to be here. 3 points. Basically, Madam President, I want to thank you for your leadership, because that's one of the things that's been missing in the room of trying to tackle this issue. We have heard today, and we don't need to rehash it, what the problem is. But also we've heard what the solutions are. It's one of those issues where we know the problems and we know the solutions. So the question is, why aren't we making a dent in this area? Why is it that we have a continent, the only place in the world where access to affordable clean cooking remains an illusion. It's still not keeping pace with population growth. And if we continue at the pace, we will have 1 billion people on the continent of Africa by 2030 who don't have access. So it really is the challenge before us today is why isn't it happening despite the interest, despite the investments? We've heard across the room all the many projects that are happening. And as UNDP, I think where we come into this is one of the missing factors is that a lot of these programs are standalone. We need to connect the dots. When we have a program that is focusing on this, we need to ask the question, what is the governance environment within which this program is being implemented in terms of its sustainability? What is the institutional arrangement in terms of scaling? How does it relate to regulations and to standardization? So these are the areas where UNDP is investing in Tanzania, and we hope that through the work that we're doing in Tanzania with your government, Your Excellency, that we will be able to have some solutions around connecting the dots. The second point I wanted to make is around the issue of investing in young people who are coming up with solutions. Yesterday, I met a young Namibian who has come together with his friends in a startup initiative that's looking at green hydrogen as a source for clean cooking. The question is, who knows these young people and who is investing in them? And I really want to make the case here for us to look at green tech-enabled green solutions for clean cooking that are emerging from our talented young people and invest in them in a serious way. Thank you very much, and we look forward to continue to work with you.
Thank you so much. I'd like to invite our friend Sarah from WFP to give a few remarks.
Yeah, thank you, Your Excellency, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Excellencies, on behalf of the World Food Programme, of my Executive Director, Cindy McCain, and on behalf of the World Food Programme in Tanzania, we are committed to supporting the government in its strategy to transition 80% of the population to clean cooking by 2032. To transition public institutions, which means hospitals, health centers, and schools. And within that, we will be working together with the Ministry of Energy, the Vice President's office, and your office, Excellency, to transition schools who have school feeding program to modern and clean cooking. First, it will be in 2 steps. First, by the provision of cooking stoves, and second, in order to ensure sustainability by looking at longer term and how can we use carbon credit for financing. So just to reiterate our commitment, and asanteni sana.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. As you have mentioned, this is about women, and in the United Nations you have a close collaboration with UN Women, and it's my privilege to invite Sarah Hendricks, Deputy Executive Director of UN Women.
Thank you so much. And indeed, Your Excellency, Madam President, on behalf of our Executive Director, Sima Bahous, UN Women is so honored to participate in this high-level dialogue. And we offer our wholehearted congratulations on the launch of the African Women Clean Cooking Support Program, and indeed on your visionary leadership, Madam President. We do know that it is indeed crucial to recognize that women and girls are disproportionately affected by climate change. And this is due to so many prevailing gender gaps that have been part of today's conversation. Their lack of access to natural and productive resources, their increasing unpaid care and domestic work burdens. But we also know that it's crucial, Your Excellency, to shift the narrative away from women as vulnerable victims and highlight their participation, their leadership in climate action. This is true for women farmers, producers, workers, consumers, and household managers, many of whom our Executive Director met when she visited you and when she visited Tanzania last year. And we've seen women as important agents of change who are implementing low-carbon, climate-resilient development pathways. We must ensure that their voice and their agency is supported, is resourced, is valued, and is recognized. Women's leadership matters, Your Excellency, and it is reflective of the direct link between your leadership and this ambitious climate action that we believe the world needs to follow. Women's grassroots organizations are also key for combating climate change, but we know they are too often underfunded. And we know young women's and girls' exclusion from climate and environmental decision-making processes also undermines our collective ability to address the climate crisis. Your Excellency, the work that you have led in spearheading affordable and clean energy, it will catalyze gender equality. It will drive poverty alleviation. It will mitigate women's unpaid care burdens. It will lead to transformation for the lives of women and girls across Tanzania and indeed across the whole continent. Clean and just energy transitions is a game changer. It's a game changer for women in their households. It's also a game changer for women as economic actors. And here, UN Women is so pleased to partner with Solar Sister, an organization that supports women's entrepreneurship in the distribution of solar technologies, including clean cook stoves, through community networks in Tanzania, in Nigeria, in Kenya. They have reached over 4.3 million women with clean energy products. They've supported more than 10,000 local women's entrepreneurs. They've mitigated 1.4 million metric tons of CO2 emissions. It is this type of work that is inspiring. So as I close, UN Women joins you, Your Excellency, and the United Republic of Tanzania in celebrating, in thanking, in recognizing the launch of the African Women's Clean Cooking Support Program. It is this critical initiative that reflects the leadership that you have placed on generation equality, on the Economic Justice and Rights Action Coalition, and in partnership with UN Women, we are so proud and so honored and so humbled to be part of your effective leadership in driving the way forward in this gender-responsive, just energy approach across Africa. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you so much. So, Your Excellency, as you mentioned in your remarks and mentioned to us several times, that this initiative will, for its success, will require multiple partners and players, and one of them are philanthropists. And therefore, it's my pleasure to invite a representative of Bloomberg Global Energy Transition Initiative for Africa Program, Mr. Jide Ikeako.
Thank you. Your Excellency, Madam President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me stand on already well-established protocols. Your Excellency, I bring you the greetings of Mr. Michael Bloomberg, who will be meeting shortly after this event with Your Excellency. At that point in time, there will be further discussions on support. Your Excellency, we have heard today about clean cooking in the context of global emissions. We have heard today the harrowing personal stories and how clean cooking disproportionately affects women and children. We know that we can draw learnings from other areas of the globe, from Asia, India, and other countries who have halved their access figures between 2010 and 2023. So we know that universal access is not a problem of technology. It's not a problem of policy. The policy solutions are well known. What we find is the implementation and the funding is sometimes lacking. So we know what we should be doing. We should be providing further policy support, data and analysis to build evidence and store data on how clean cooking initiatives affect women and children, capacity building
and funding, targeted funding, at vulnerable groups, women and children. So, Madam Excellency, we know that this is a time for action, and we commend you for having taken action. We will continue to look to your guidance and look for ways with which we can support this very noble initiative. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Your Excellency, NGOs will be critical in mobilizing support for the initiative, and we have already interacted with Energia International Network on Gender and Sustainable Energy from the Netherlands. They have interacted with your government and committed support. And therefore, it's my pleasure to welcome Ms. Sheila Oparaocha from Energia.
Your Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to make an intervention at this milestone event here at COP28. I'd like to start by joining others in extending congratulations to Her Excellency, the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, for organizing and for launching the Africa Women Clean Cooking Support Program. I also congratulate you for your leadership, Your Excellency, for including clean cooking in your opening remarks at the presidential segment of the opening of COP28 yesterday. I heard you online and I was listening. I would like to echo the sentiments of preceding speakers that emphasize the transformative shift in positioning African women as a catalyst and as change agents for the clean cooking revolution that is necessary on our continent. As Ms. Nymphenolander-Linden already said, the evidence is very clear, and this is empirical evidence that has underscored the pivotal role that women's decision-making as consumers, but also in their productive uses of energy, where thermal energy and cooking energy makes a great percentage, that they are really critical for the widespread adoption and utilization of clean cooking solutions. We can have clean cooking, but it's a different aspect when we're talking about uptake and adoptions, and women are the drivers of this, very much as employees and entrepreneurs, and particularly in distribution chains where we find commercial and conventional distributional channels inadequate. Moreover, as is demonstrated here today, the leadership of women in policy, in politics, and in finance is indispensable when we are talking about achieving progress at scale. I'd also like to underscore the comments that were made about the leadership of young people, considering that the majority of people on our continent, Your Excellency, are young, and the critical role that they play in driving innovation, in raising awareness, and really just being an activist for transformative change. Your Excellency, my organization, the Energia International Network on Gender and Sustainable Energy, has been working in your country since 2000 with partners such as Solar Sister and the Tanzania Sustainable Energy Gender Network to drive change in the energy sector. We're very proud that your Ministry of Energy has adopted the Sustainable Energy for All Agenda Action Plan to inform your energy decisions. In this regard, together with our partners, Energia has supported 12,000 women entrepreneurs that are growing resilient businesses and providing clean energy in their communities, already reaching over 7 million consumers. In order to leapfrog these tangible results that are made available when women organizations take the lead, we do need our African governments to make clean cooking and gender a central part of national energy strategies, of investments, of budgets, of their NDCs, and definitely in their development cooperation agreements. Your Excellency, let me just conclude. As the co-facilitator of the Sustainable Development Goal number 7 Technical Advisory Group, together with my co-facilitator Hans-Olaf Ibrick, that we look forward to the leadership of our ministers and our excellencies here of making clean cooking central to the stocktake of the Sustainable Development Goal number 7 that will take place next year. Also, in the Summit for the Future, where we do believe our member states will be thinking about post-2030 agenda, that clean cooking continues to be a driver of sustainable development. In conclusion, I do think it's necessary to recognize the role of African women who are leveraging their positions to elevate the visibility, needs and interests of their fellow African women. Here I'd like to recognize your role, Your Excellency, but complementary to that, also the role of the Second Lady of Ghana, Mama Samira, who is a continuous and consistent voice on this subject the world over. I'd also like to add to this Mama Ruto, the First Lady of Kenya, and also my sister, Damiola Ogumbili, the Special Representative of the United Secretary General of Sustainable Energy for All. We're beginning to see changes on the dialogue of clean cooking and the positioning of women because of the role and the championing of these women in this arena. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our sister. So, Your Excellency, last year in Tanzania, you organized a national dialogue, a national conversation on clean cooking, which excited action and mobilized support. And your government has gone to create a vision and a strategy to transition to 80% in the next 10 years. There are Tanzanians in the audience that have come to support you. And I would like to, with your permission, to allow Ms. Zahira Murtaza, Vice President of Seaweed Corporation, on behalf of all Tanzanians that have come to support you, to make an intervention.
Good morning, everybody. Madam President, thank you very much for this opportunity to speak to you all today. My name is Zahira Fazal, and I'm here representing Seaweed Corporation. We are a company in mainland Tanzania and Zanzibar and Pemba that works in the blue economy space. We have championed gender equity, and we are so proud to be here and share in your vision of the clean cooking initiative that we are here to pledge our support to. We work with about 20,000 farmers in Tanzania, 80% of whom are women. So we see a very consistent synergy between our two initiatives. So today we are here to pledge our support for thank you. We are here to pledge our support to your Clean Cooking Initiative program by bringing together the private sector along with the government initiative to convert coastal communities to clean cooking stoves in the very near future. This fits into our philanthropic projects that we do where we are empowering women and girls. So I would like to pledge our support for that and champion our slogan, Kuwezesha Wasichana. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, as the audience may have noticed, we have been blessed with the presence of your brother, President Cyril Ramaphosa, President of the Republic of South Africa, and also Director General of Executive Director of International Energy Agency, Dr. Fatih Birol, and they've come at the right time. And I hope, Dr. Birol, you're prepared to intervene. So the floor is yours.
Very many thanks, Madam President. May I thank you very much for holding this meeting and putting your finger on one of the most important issues when it comes to energy, climate change, and humanity. Madam President, I work on this issue since almost 3 decades, and I am very happy to see that you, Madam President, brought us together from an angle which is gender. Madam President, I live in Paris. Our organization is based in Paris. In Europe, in North America, Australia, in advanced economies, gender issue is becoming a key issue, which makes me very happy. And one of the main topics we discussed, for example, at the workplace, to have there is no pay gap between the genders, which is very important. The representation of the female employers vis-à-vis male employers at the top level, having equality there. It is excellent going there. But, dear colleagues, when we look at the clean cooking issue in Africa, these are very, very different than the rather grave situation of gender situation in Africa today because of the cooking. Excellencies, we have all the numbers since 30 years. We are looking at this. I give you a couple of them. In Africa, 4 out of 5 families use wood, agricultural waste, animal waste for cooking, preparing the meal. And it is mostly, almost exclusively women. And based on our study with the World Health Organization, this is the respiratory diseases coming from the primitive cooking is one of the 2 reasons for women die prematurely in Africa. So one of the 2 main reasons for premature death for women. Second, several hours of the time of a woman going and collecting wood is robbed by, again, this primitive way of cooking. In addition to women, it is also the children who are with the mother around the cooking activities who are badly affected from this. In my view, this is the most important gender issue I see today in the world, even though we don't hear that much in most part of the world. And, Madam President, dear colleagues, what makes it much more dramatic, the situation, in my view, is we look at the problem, how much money is needed to solve this problem for once and forever. It is really peanuts. You need $4 billion in order to give a solution to this problem. And many countries have already, who had the same problem, already addressed this problem in a good way. I can give you the example of India, for example. In India, they had a Ujjwala program, and they have fixed the problem there. So $4 billion, what is $4 billion? I can tell you in energy terms. I am an energy man, I know only energy. In Europe, after the energy crisis, we are building to import a lot of LNG, liquefied natural gas, the terminals, one after another. To build one LNG terminal costs $25 billion. So you can solve this clean cooking issue 6 times compared to building an LNG terminal. So from that perspective, Madam President, my appeal to, first, the advanced economies, second, the development banks. I have my friend here, the African Development Bank president. We work on this, we discuss on this a lot, to find a solution to this problem with the help of the host countries as well, because you need a very good programming and a good strategy how to deal with this problem. In order to have this problem in hand and to come up with a strategy and with a roadmap, discussing with several government leaders around the world, next year in spring 2024, I am hosting an international conference on the clean cooking, bringing the many government leaders from Africa, but also from the advanced economies, energy industry, international financial institutions, to come up with a concrete, pragmatic roadmap to solve this problem. It is a very solvable problem, and it is a major problem. And as International Energy Agency, I am inviting all of us here to come together to Paris to address this problem and provide a solution to this very solvable problem. I thank you very much once again, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Birol, for your inspiring message. Before I invite President Ramaphosa, I would like to give 1.5 minutes to our partner and friend in Tanzania, SNV, Chief Executive Officer, Simon Okono.
Your Excellency, Madam President, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to be amongst you at SNV. We're delighted to be a partner in this important initiative. My remarks will be very brief. I promise you 4 key points around solutions. What's required for an initiative like this? First and foremost, leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, and Madam President, thank you so much for exemplifying that here today and in spearheading this initiative. Secondly, understanding of the realities of the context. And Dr. Adesina, thank you so much for bringing that so powerfully into the room at the beginning of our discussion an hour or so ago. But secondly, of course, an understanding of the economics. And distinguished guest, Madam President, ladies and gentlemen, it's the economics of this. What we need to understand is there's a completely viable economic and business model around this. It's affordable. My organization, SMV, just one example in Mozambique, hundreds of thousands of cook stoves are generating savings, depending on the tiering of the stove and the fuel used, of between $10 and $20 a month. $10 and $20 a month. It may not sound like a lot to us, but if you're living on less than $2.15 a day, that's an enormous opportunity to get more children into school and to get better access to healthcare. So the business model, ladies and gentlemen, is viable. Thirdly, we must focus on the inclusive, just, and equitable transition. To do so, we need to better understand the vulnerabilities in these contexts, and we then need to use more innovative, results-based financing mechanisms to enable the private sector, because this needs political leadership, and then the private sector to be incentivized through those results-based financing mechanisms to take more risk and to push out in those more vulnerable contexts. And my fourth and final point, ladies and gentlemen, we must ensure that the carbon market is working for those at the bottom of the pyramid. We must ensure that the carbon market, which is a part of the solution to this, is enabling greater access to those opportunities that are afforded through cleaner and better technologies. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Simon. Now it's my privilege and honor to invite His Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa, President of the Republic of South Africa, for what will be closing remarks. Before I invite the President to give the closing remarks. The floor is yours, Your Excellency.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Excellency, President of Tanzania. My apologies for arriving a bit late. We were delayed by none other than the Secretary General, and as he's our collective boss, we needed to spend a little bit more time with him. And I will be very brief as well, but also want to thank you for hosting this event and also for championing the clean cooking solutions in Africa. Now, the question that was raised for us in the moderating part of this whole session was the extent to which South Africa has experience to share in terms of elaborating our own success story on achieving more than 80% access to, in inverted commas, it says clean cooking fuels and technologies in your country. I'd like to put the clean in inverted commas and just talk about the three journeys that we have traversed. Firstly, the initial journey was just to make sure that there's access to electricity. When the new democratic government came into office in 1994, President Mandela sought to ensure that there is access to those who did not have access. We only had about 50% or 52% access in the whole population. We have succeeded in ramping up access to electrical power usage to 93%. People in the deep rural areas transited from using wood, animal products and everything else, cow dung and everything, to using electricity, which meant that there was enormous penetration and access. And that then enabled people to cook, to use electricity as cooking fuel, but it was fossil fuel, as most of our electricity is generated from coal. And having achieved that access, we've now had to move more and more towards cleaner energy. So we are now beginning the transit route to cleaner energy, and that in itself is a journey that we have embarked upon, but it is a necessary journey, a journey that is going to address the issue and continues to address the issue of gender inequity, inequality, and also addresses the issue of poverty. So as we look at the Sustainable Development Goals, we find that up to 3 of them have to be addressed when you have to deal with the issue of giving access, particularly to women, and in our case, largely in the rural areas. So as we now transiting to cleaner, renewable energy, we are finding that we cannot just do it in one fell swoop, but we also have to do it as part of our transition, a just transition as we call it, where we've got to engage fully with communities in the rural areas and communities in places where we've had coal-fired power stations that have to transit from emitting carbon emissions to power stations that are now based more on your renewable energy fuel sources. But as we do that, we want to maintain the access by women in our country, and that access in the end should speak to an area which Your Excellency, you have really focused on. The clean cooking, in our view, is an urgent development issue with significant benefits for public health, for gender equality, and for the local environment, and in the end for global climate. So in the past, we didn't have access. We've now acceded to great access in the population. We now need to embark on another journey to have real good access to renewable energy. And as we transit all this, obviously, we need to look at new technologies And what the gentlemen were talking about resonates very well with the journey that we are embarking on. So I think that this session is most timeless because it raises our level of awareness and consciousness about what needs to be done. And so we have, if you like, a dual lesson of having to give people access, and we're now developing lessons even for ourselves and learning from others on embarking on greater access to renewables so that we can solve the problem for many women in our country to have real meaningful access to cooking technologies, clean cooking technologies, and to renewable energy on an equitable basis. So thank you very much for having us at this summit. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Before I give the floor to Your Excellency for the final word, I'd like to make an announcement that tomorrow from 13:15 hours to 14:45 hours at Meeting Room 5, Zone B1, there will be a high-level side event on agricultural opportunities for green growth transformation in Tanzania. Please come and hear such an inspiring story about the present vision for agriculture in Tanzania through my brother and colleague, Mr. Hussein Bashe, Honorable Hussein Bashe, Minister for Agriculture, who is doing fantastic work. So all of us will be there, and we expect also to be joined by all of you. Thank you so much. So, Your Excellency, now the floor is yours for the final word.
For the launch.
Yes, and for the launch.
Yeah, before the final word, I'll be having a launch of the program. Thank you. It's technologically done, so thank you for joining me in this technological launching. Wow.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I thank you all for joining me in this launching. And Excellencies and dear delegates, I wish to thank you, my dearest brothers, President Ramaphosa, President Adesina, presidents and CEOs of international organizations, UN agencies, private sector, civil service organizations, and all of you who are here with us in this room. Thank you very much for your insights, your comments, and your commitments. Certainly, after hearing the valuable insights from esteemed leaders and yourselves, it is evident that clean cooking is not only a practical solution, but also a transformative undertaking. So we believe that our collective commitment should manifest in concrete actions that empower and uplift. The insights shared and commitments made here today gives us added impetus to push forward with this program. I'm convinced that with your collaboration, we can accelerate the achievement of universal access to clean cooking across Africa. Initially, it was envisaged that this would be a 3-year program. However, as it has been said by the UNCDF, however, given the magnitude of the work ahead and the positive response that we have seen here today, it is my reconsidered view that we should grow our ambition even higher and we should institutionalize this program. So as a way forward, I wish to propose that in collaboration with other states and partners, as I have mentioned them, the clean cooking, private sector, civil society organizations, UN agencies, I propose that the United Republic of Tanzania offers to convene an experts meeting in Tanzania in the date specified and will inform all of you. We convene a meeting of experts to work out detailed modalities on how we can best structure and roll out this program to ensure a wide impact is attainable. I believe this way we can better ensure sustainability of this program, and the insights, views and comments which were given here would be the terms of reference of the a meeting to come. We work out on those views and insights given here. So in conclusion, once again, I thank you. I thank you all for honoring our invitation and for your meaningful participation. Clean cooking solutions are not only about stoves and emissions, they are also about empowerment of women and youth. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to conclude by stating that your invaluable contribution will be the driving force behind this transformative journey. Together we can reshape the energy landscape, empower women and girls, and usher in a cleaner, more sustainable future for Africa through a gender-responsive and just energy transition approach. Before joining this event, may I wish you fruitful participation in this COP27. Thank you. COP28, sorry. 27 we went in Sharm el-Sheikh. So thank you very much for your participation in this discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. We'll dismiss. Thank you for starting a movement, Your Excellency. We are with you. Dr. Biro, see you in Paris. Thank you.
My brother.